There is an almost invisible instant that separates the strong from the weak, the moment someone accuses you. The ordinary rush to explain themselves, like a servant begging absolution. The wise, however, remain still. Machiavelli warned, "It is not truth that rules, but perception." In that instant, silence is not absence, it is a hidden sword. He who keeps quiet does not surrender. He who hurries hands himself to the other's tribunal. To justify yourself is to accept the role of defendant. Even innocent, the man who rushes to cleanse his name already seems guilty. The public does not see purity, it sees haste. He who hurries reveals fear. He who contains himself reveals strength. The attack does not wound the one who refuses the arena. Thus the accusation returns to the one who hurled it, like a blade turning back on its wielder. Answering an attack is lighting yourself as a target. Each word is a beacon for the enemy's arrow. But he who stays silent plunges the accuser into the darkness of doubt. People, natural spectators, do not seek justice. They seek spectacle. He who over-explains becomes a spectacle of weakness. He who keeps silence becomes an invisible wall, leaving the adversary raging alone. It is not the accusation that defines a man, but his reaction to it. The master does not deny, beg, or plead. He lets the thrown stone fall into deep waters without any echo. The accuser repeats himself until his voice grows tiresome. The wise, serene, rises as an enigma, and the enigma commands respect. The predictable can be beaten, the incomprehensible, never. If someone calls you arrogant, a direct reply validates the criticism. The strategic mind answers, "Curious how confidence bothers some people." The weight shifts hands. Now the accuser must explain himself, and he who must explain has already lost. Strength is not in denial but inversion. True power does not defend itself. It turns the attack into the enemy's burden. Machiavelli said, "It is not enough to be right, you must appear unshakable." Truth without the appearance of firmness does not protect. What protects is the aura of one who does not waver. Before attack, calm is a stone wall. The public does not see innocence or guilt, but discipline. Solid silence becomes greater than any defense. Thus a strong reputation is born, not from sympathy, but reverent fear. A good reputation is like glass, gleaming yet fragile. A strong reputation is like rock. It seeks no applause, it imposes respect. The beloved is adored today and forgotten tomorrow. The respected remains untouchable. He whom fear makes people think twice before attacking already has their protection, even unwillingly. Machiavelli understood, to be loved is volatile, to be feared is lasting. The first weapon is silence, not empty silence, but presence-laden silence. It does not shout, "I owe nothing." It simply exists, heavy as a mountain. The accuser feels the void and is lost in it. The public, seeing it, concludes, "He who is silent does not fear, and he who does not fear rules." In this game, silence is invisible fire that consumes without leaving ashes. The second weapon is redirection. Do not deny the charge, reframe it. Whoever says you're manipulative hears, "Interesting." Only those who can't be influenced say that. Suddenly the accuser must explain himself, and he who explains is at a disadvantage. Redirection does not flee, it transforms. It is the alchemy of speech. The poison thrown becomes poison drunk by the thrower. The third weapon is the quick cut. A short, precise phrase ends the matter. "I owe no explanations." Some things don't merit a response. This cut is a blade that silences the adversary before the duel. The public understands. One who speaks thus feels obliged to nothing. Silenced, the enemy appears small before the invisible audience of power. Mastering these three, silence, redirection, quick cut, lifts you above common dispute. The one who wields them need not fight, for he intimidates effortlessly. The enemy hesitates, and in that hesitation, he has already lost. Strangers even rise to defend you, not from friendship, but because they see you as untouchable. True power is not winning debates, but never needing them. He who refuses to recognize the blow makes the enemy ridiculous. The blade cuts only air. It is like fighting a shadow. The aggressor tires, but does not strike. This is the invisible warrior who wins by absence. It's not that he doesn't play, he plays on a higher field. The adversary realizes too late there was never an arena, only the void that devours his strength. The predictable is defeated because it always answers the same way. The enigmatic is feared, for you never know if he'll keep silence or strike with a short word. Mystery is his armor. The accuser treads uncertain ground, like crossing a swamp without seeing the bottom. The more he struggles, the deeper he sinks. Enigma is the impenetrable fortress of the strategic mind. The master of silence also learns to control time. The enemy expects an immediate reply, but the wise delay. Each second of delay weighs upon the accuser. The attack loses heat, like iron removed from the fire. Silence is the secret clock of power. Every instant without response becomes a chain binding the adversary to his own exhaustion. Silence is not inertia, it is invisible action. It creates space for the other to reveal himself, to repeat himself, to trip on his own words. While the enemy wears out, the wise observe, and the public observes with him. The true master does not speak to explain himself. He speaks to move pieces. On this board, silence is always the opening move. Purposeless silence is empty. Strategic silence is full of meaning. It is born not of fear, but of choice. The master chooses to be quiet, and in that choice lies his threat. The enemy never knows whether he'll be ignored or struck by a sudden cut. The unexpected breeds fear, and fear is a wall sturdier than any defense. When the wise speak, their words weigh like lead. Not long speeches, but sure blows. Economy of voice is the wealth of power. He who speaks little concentrates attention. He who speaks much dissolves. Machiavelli already taught, strength lies not in quantity, but precision. One short phrase can end an entire conflict, while 1,000 justifications merely prolong the battle. To redirect is not to flee, it is to rewrite the scene. The master does not fight in the enemy's arena, he creates his own. He who calls him cold or manipulative finds himself trapped by phrases that reveal his own weakness. The charge becomes confession. The accuser must explain himself, and in explaining is defeated. The public sees it, and in their eyes your power is confirmed. These weapons shape not only disputes, but reputations. The man who commands silence, redirection, and the cut is seen as superior, not for shouting but for control. His presence draws spontaneous respect. Alliances form around him unbidden. The confidence he radiates is magnetic, and confidence attracts allies firmer than the fragile affection of popularity. True power is not stockpiling visible victories, but building an invisible aura of invulnerability. This aura makes enemies hesitate before attacking. It makes the public see you as an unshakable stone. In that state, silence is sword, redirection is shield, the cut is a spear. Machiavelli taught, it is not enough to win debates. The most dangerous warrior has already won before the fight begins. Silent power is like an invisible rampart. It need not be proven, only felt. Those who dare test it learn the cost is too high. Slowly, the adversary fears not your words, but your calm. He realizes he does not control the narrative, but is trapped inside it. This is the secret, to make the other's mind become its own prison. Machiavelli said ruling is first of all ruling perceptions. Reality may be hard, but the way it's read moves armies and topples kingdoms. Life is no different. It matters less that you are right than that you seem invulnerable. Calculated silence projects that invulnerability. It shapes images, forges legends, lifts you above common opinion. Ignored, the accuser feels compelled to insist. Each new attempt exposes him further. The public begins to see him as the one who must prove something, not you. His insistence is his ruin. It is like a man shouting at a mountain. The mountain does not answer, yet its greatness imposes itself. The shout, instead of wounding, only echoes, revealing the smallness of the one who launched it. Do not confuse silence with apathy. Strategic silence is not abandonment, it is dominion. It is the conscious choice not to stoop to the enemy's ground. It is the gesture of one who understands that at times the most powerful move is stillness. Like the general who won't advance on a minefield, but waits for the enemy to undo himself. Silence is a prelude to victory, bloodless conquest. Great masters of speech do not talk to explain, they talk to decide. Each phrase is like a decree closing an era. I owe no explanations. I do not follow common paths. Such sentences sound like hammers that end the trial. No reply is possible. The accuser sees he has no weapons, and the public, enthralled, sees not merely a man but a rock. He who masters the three weapons learns to create atmosphere. Presence speaks louder than discourse. A steady gaze, upright posture, measured gesture. Everything is language, and silent language is the most powerful. Crowds do not remember a man's justifications, but they never forget his posture. That is why great leaders cross centuries. They were not talkers, they were presences. Silent presence is the true throne. The throne is not gold, it is psychological. He who sits upon it occupies other minds. He never rushes, never despairs, never squanders himself on petty quarrels. His calm becomes myth, and myth is stronger than reality. The common man can be destroyed, the myth cannot. He who learns to be myth becomes immortal. Silence is also a test. It reveals the weak around you. Some, unable to bear the void, rush to fill it with words, and in speaking too much, they yield their secrets. You did not need to ask. Silence made them confess. Machiavelli knew, a ruler need not always wrench truths out. Create the space where discomfort makes others hand them to you. Every true silence is a bridge to observation. While the enemy thrashes, you see beyond. You perceive anxieties, detect intentions, anticipate moves. Silence opens inner ears, and the wise hear what the foolish ignore. Thus, victory is born not from attack, but attentive listening. The world reveals its secrets not to those who shout, but to those who wait. In the art of power, each word is a rare coin. He who spends quickly grows poor. He who saves grows rich. Silence is a guarded treasure. The rarer its use, the more precious it becomes. When the master finally speaks, his words shine like gold. The public listens in reverence. The enemy trembles, for if the one who keeps quiet has spoken, it is because he chose to win. Victory lies not only in defeating the foe, but in shaping the battlefield. Silence does this. It turns every accusation into the accuser's load. Redirection changes the spear's line. The quick cut closes the arena. The master does not react, he guides. He does not answer. He conducts. The higher power is not resisting the game, but forcing the adversary to play by rules you wrote. In the court of opinion, haste is weakness, slowness is power. People follow not the most just, but the most steady. They obey not the loudest, but the unshakable. Hence great leaders stand as living statues, not because they never err, but because they never explain. Their errors dissolve with time. The common man's error multiplies in excuses. When you master silence, you learn doubt is your ally. Each time you do not respond, the public asks, what does he think? What does he know? What does he hide? That doubt is poison to enemies and fertilizer to your reputation. The more people speculate, the larger you become in their minds. The invisible grows greater than the visible. Strategy is not merely surviving attack, but inverting it. Called false, you answer, that's what they say when they no longer get what they want. The inversion is perfect. The accuser stands stripped. He must explain, and he who explains has lost his aura of authority. The master rises without raising his voice. His victory is clean, cold, complete. Silence is like a shadow. It follows the enemy until he tires. Redirection is like a mirror. It returns his distorted image. The quick cut is lightning. Sudden, it stills the storm. These three are not ornaments. They are foundations. With them, you cease to be ordinary and become an architect of perception, an invisible engineer of minds. Remember, it is not enough to use the weapons. They must look natural. Forced silence sounds like fear. Poor redirection like evasion. A misplaced cut like rudeness. The master trains, refines, perfects. Each gesture must seem instinctive. Perfection is not visible technique, but hidden art. Only then are you seen not as an actor, but as a force. Calm is not absence of emotion, it is emotion tamed. The word warrior feels anger but does not show it, feels pain but does not display it, feels fear but never yields it. He wears calm like armor. The public, seeing him, believes nothing touches him. That belief is his greatest ally. The enemy may wound the body but never the aura, and the aura governs. To be an enigma is to be inaccessible. The transparent man is predictable, and the predictable is defeated. The enigmatic keeps a layer of mystery, never fully explains, never reveals every step. That opacity is his mantle. Opponents cannot tell if they step on ground or abyss. Fear comes not from violence, but uncertainty, and uncertainty paralyzes. Our solid reputation is not born of kindness, but of difficulty in attacking you. To be loved is to depend on the people's mood. To be respected is to be untouchable. The respected asks nothing, he receives. He does not defend himself, he is defended. All know the cost of striking him. Machiavelli understood. In power, it is not the heart that protects, but fear. Silence, redirection, and the cut are not just defensive techniques. They are architectures of dominion. They shape how you are seen, remembered, and feared. They are invisible weapons building walls in others' minds. Master this art, and you do not fight each dispute. You have already won them. The enemy learns sooner or later that battle with you never begins, because it already ended. Power is not measured by spoken words, but by silences that weigh. A restrained gesture may mean more than a fiery speech. The common man speaks to be accepted. The master is silent to be feared. This difference separates those at the mercy of opinion from those who mold it. Silence is more than absence. It is a declaration of independence. It proclaims, I owe nothing to anyone. Men fear what they do not understand. Hence the enigma is a weapon mightier than the sword. He who does not explain remains impenetrable. The accuser guesses, the public speculates, no one is sure. Uncertainty corrodes more than any wound. The master understands what is not defined cannot be destroyed, for what none can define, none can attack. Discipline of mind is the key. The enemy attacks to provoke reaction. If he finds no response, he meets the void. That void is a minefield. Each step may be his last. The trained mind does not react by impulse. It waits, assesses, calculates. The adversary, confused, begins to attack himself. The public sees it and understands. He who masters himself already masters others. No weakness is greater than haste. The hasty man reveals anxiety, exposes fear, betrays intent. The slow, measured man transmits security. Each pause is a stone underfoot. People follow what seems solid. Calculated slowness is a language of power. The quick may impress for a moment. The slow rules for centuries. Silence hides a secret. It turns doubts into legend. When you do not answer, each person invents a version. Some see strength, others coldness. All speculate, none is certain. Each supposition enlarges your figure. The man who keeps quiet multiplies into 1,000 images. In the end, legend is always larger than the man. Thus are myths born. A myth need not explain. It simply is. The gods of old cities did not apologize or justify. Their greatness lay in distance. The more unreachable, the more revered. The man who seeks power learns from the gods. Do not descend to the accuser's level. Stay above, untouchable. At such heights, even attacks resemble prayers. The quick cut, well used, is thunder. It does not need repeating. A single phrase ends the storm. I owe no explanations. Some things do not merit reply. These sentences echo by force, not volume. Before them, the accuser is disarmed. The public hears them as law, no counterstands. It is the final strike closing destiny's door. Redirection is crueler still. It not only neutralizes the blow, it returns it. Called arrogant, you answer, curious how confidence bothers you. Suddenly the charge becomes the accuser's revelation. Exposed before all, he must explain, and he who explains is already down. The master wins not by louder force, but by the art of inversion. A strong reputation is not born of applause, but of fear of invisible retaliation. The enemy thinks twice before striking you, not out of love, but cost. That fear is your cuirass. It protects better than sympathy, which is fickle. Machiavelli knew, better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Fear endures, love dissolves. In common life, many seek approval, begging glances, pleading for recognition. The man of power seeks not approval. He imposes respect. Respect is born from silence, calm, firmness. He does not chase the crowd chases him. He need prove nothing, only exist with weight. That weight makes even enemies acknowledge his greatness. Repeated silence creates an aura of mystery. The public begins to defend what it does not understand. He knows more than he shows. He guards something we don't know. Silence becomes reputation, reputation becomes myth, myth becomes a wall. The accuser learns he does not fight a man but a vast shadow he can never reach. The master knows the perfect victory is not to crush the enemy, but to make him give up. Silence does this. Redirection does this. The quick cut does this. Confused, tired, disarmed, the adversary abandons the attack. He believes he failed by himself, not seeing he was led. Beauty of strategy, to win without fighting, to conquer with clean hands. Power is not theatre for the weak, but discipline for the strong. The master is not impressed by provocations. He is guided not by heat of the moment, but cold calculation. Each word is measured like a sword strike, each silence placed like a chess piece. The enemy realizes he never faced a mere man, but a strategist's mind. In war of words, rushed defense is always defeat. It is attacking with a sword and no shield. Silence is an invisible shield, impenetrable, effortless. The adversary tires, the public tires, and you remain untouched. In the end, you are not the one who must be justified. The accuser ends alone, a prisoner of rage, and of the ridicule of his insistence. The quick cut not only ends debate, it imposes hierarchy. It shows who speaks from authority and who from need. The master closes with one line. The accuser repeats 1,000. The public forgets the talker and remembers the phrase that sounded like a decree. That is what makes a man a leader, the ability to say little and be remembered much. Redirection is the art of rerouting energies. As a river bends around the rock without fighting it, the master reroutes attacks without head-on clash. The charge loses force when placed in another frame. The enemy thinks he's striking, but discovers he struck himself. The strategist's triumph, to win through the adversary's movement, not your own. Silence, redirection, and the cut are three invisible guardians. The first protects, the second confuses, the third finishes. Together they form wall, labyrinth, and blade. They are stronger than armies because they rely not on outer weapons, but on disciplined mind. He who commands these guardians is never naked before the foe. He is clothed in his own shadow. The common man fears accusations, believing honor rests in others' hands. The man of power knows honor is an inner construction. What people say matters less than what he shows, and he shows firmness. The accuser may shout, but the crowd sees who stands still. That stillness breeds trust. The stable is always preferred to the unstable. True power is quiet. It needs no announcement, no justification. It imposes itself by presence, calm, the certainty it will not bend. The enemy, seeing it, feels fear. The public, watching, feels admiration. In this contrast, authority is born. He who masters himself becomes naturally master of others, for whoever controls his own fire controls the world. Machiavelli knew the ruler must not only win battles but mold perceptions. Silence, redirection, and the cut are not mere techniques. They are instruments of rule. They craft an image solid, untouchable, almost divine. Once that image is set, none dare attack it. Supreme power is not to fight but to become unreachable, distant, indestructible. Power born of silence is not only defense but creation. It builds around you an aura others cannot pierce. At once wall and throne, the enemy feels it and retreats. The people behold it and incline. You do not ask for respect, you receive it. When presence speaks louder than voice, the world understands who should govern. Those who live explaining themselves never rule. They are slaves to opinion, hostages to approval. Those who stand firm shape the collective gaze. The public, without noticing, begins to defend them. He need not speak. He knows more than he shows. When the crowd defends you in silence, you are no longer a man, you are a symbol. To be a symbol is to cross the limit of flesh. It is to be seen as an idea. The body can fall, the idea remains. The man who masters silence becomes legend in life. Enemies speak, but they speak about you. Your words are remembered not for quantity, but weight. When death arrives, it does not destroy the symbol, it confirms it. Legend outlives blood. Machiavelli taught, "No victory is greater than winning without fighting. Silence is that victory. Redirection is that victory. The quick cut is that victory. You waste no force, stoop to no petty disputes. Your enemy undoes himself. The public sees. In the end, all recognize the most dangerous warrior is the one who never had to lift a sword to reign." Do not confuse ruling with pleasing. People love today and hate tomorrow. Respect is different. It does not depend on the winds of emotion. It is born of the certainty that attacking you is costly. Fear protects. And when fear unites with mystery, you are not only respected, you are feared. And to be feared, balanced by justice, is the firmest way to govern. Justice here is not compassion, but balance. The wise ruler punishes neither by whim nor forgives by weakness. He calculates mercy when it strengthens his image, severity when order is threatened. Silence, redirection, and the cut are parts of that calculus. The rest is vision, for to govern is above all to weigh each gesture on the scale of power. The most dangerous enemy is not the one who shouts, but the one who is silent. Not the one who answers, but the one who watches. Not the one who justifies, but the one who chooses when to speak. Such an enemy is unpredictable, unreachable, enigmatic, called immortal even while alive. You cannot destroy what never fully reveals itself. Mystery is his eternity. A man's eternity is not in years but influence. Many die young and remain forever. Others live long and are forgotten. The difference lies in the image they leave. The master of speech builds an image that does not fade. Solid, firm, impossible to break. Enemies can defeat his body, never his spirit, for the spirit lodges in collective memory. He who seeks strength must learn this. Never fight small battles. The accuser drags you toward the mud of argument. Do not descend. He shouts, you are silent. He attacks, you watch. He exposes himself, you remain. In the end, he shrinks and you grow. In the game of perception, victory belongs not to the one who talks most, but to the one who makes an empire of silence. Thus ends the teaching. Silence is your invisible sword, redirection your strategic shield, the cut your decisive spear. With them, you do not merely survive, you dominate. You do not merely win, you govern. Machiavelli knew, and now you know. True power is not in answering attack, but in never needing to. He who masters silence has already won before he begins.